Ploy, a cunning plan or action designed to turn a situation to one's own advantage. Some officials dismiss the announcement as a political ploy to lower energy prices. De-escalation, the reduction of the intensity of a conflict or potentially violent situation. Investors are closely watching for any signs of de-escalation in the Middle East conflict. Waiver, an act or instance of waiving a right or claim. Fragile hopes of a regional waiver of hostilities began to fade as fighting continued. Hostile, showing or feeling opposition or dislike, unfriendly. The government labeled its neighbor as the most hostile state in the region. Sovereign, possessing supreme or ultimate power, independent. Nations are racing to develop sovereign AI to protect their data and innovation. Credence, belief in or acceptance of something as true. The rumor of a secret deal began to gain credence among cabinet members. Intermediaries, people who act as a link between parties to bring about an agreement. Communication between the two sides is currently being handled through intermediaries. Veto, a constitutional right to reject a decision or proposal made by a lawmaking body. Analysts expect that Russia or China will veto the proposed resolution. Blockades, an act of sealing off a place to prevent goods or people from entering or leaving. International trade has been severely disrupted by the maritime blockades in the region. Equities, stocks or shares in a company. Global equities jumped following the unexpected news of a temporary ceasefire. Crude, natural petroleum as it comes from the ground. The price of crude oil moved back above $100 a barrel due to supply fears. 100. Contingency, a future event or circumstance which is possible but cannot be predicted with certainty. Governments are rolling out contingency measures to address the energy crisis. Unprecedented, never done or known before. The closure of the shipping channel has triggered an unprecedented supply crisis. Strait, a narrow passage of water connecting two seas. The Strait of Hormuz is a vital route for the global distribution of petroleum. Petroleum, a liquid mixture of hydrocarbons that is present in suitable rock strata. Many countries have decided to release their private sector petroleum reserves. Supplementary, completing or enhancing something. The government announced a supplementary budget to support struggling businesses. Vouchers, documents that can be exchanged for goods or services. The new economic plan includes offering cash vouchers to boost consumer spending. Wean, to accustom someone to managing without something on which they have become dependent. There is a global push to wean modern economies off their dependence on coal. Regionally, in a way that relates to a particular area or region. Some resources can be sourced regionally rather than relying on distant suppliers. Domestically, in a way that relates to one's own country. Energy security can be improved if essential fuels are produced domestically. Smog, fog or haze combined with smoke and other atmospheric pollutants. Burning more coal risks worsening the smog in major industrial cities. Inference, the process of using a trained AI model to make predictions or decisions AI. The tech giant launched a new chip specifically optimized for inference computing. Prevails, to be widespread or current, to exist. A sense of caution prevails in the market despite the recent gains in stocks. Volatile, liable to change rapidly and unpredictably. The geopolitical situation remains highly volatile, keeping investors on edge. Postponement, the action of delaying something. The postponement of planned strikes helped ease some immediate market concerns. Industrials, companies involved in manufacturing, construction, or engineering. The industrial sector helped shore up gains in the Asian stock markets today. Shoring, to support or strengthen. Large tech firms are shoring up their infrastructure to meet the demand for AI. Volatilities, tendencies to change rapidly and unpredictably. Analysts warn that market volatilities will continue as long as tensions remain high. Lackluster, lacking in vitality, force, or conviction. European markets had a lackluster start to the week amid cautious trading. Impose, to force something to be accepted or put in place. The new trade deal will impose zero duties on critical mineral exports. Formalized, to give something official status or shape. The agreement was finally formalized after several years of intense negotiation. Provisions, conditions, or requirements in a legal document. The trade pact includes several provisions regarding regional security and defense. Quotas, fixed shares of something that a person or group is entitled to receive or bound to contribute. Certain industries have pushed back against the new quotas on imported meat. Tariff, a tax or duty to be paid on a particular class of imports or exports. The removal of the tariff on industrial goods will benefit many local exporters. Dispel, to make a doubt, feeling, or belief disappear. The president tried to dispel fears that the deal would hurt domestic producers. Authenticity, the quality of being authentic or genuine. New regulations will help safeguard the heritage and authenticity of local products. Freight, goods transported in bulk by truck, train, ship, or aircraft. The freight industry welcomed the new agreement as it levels the playing field. Fractious, irritable and quarrelsome, difficult to control. The fractious trade relationship between the two superpowers remains a concern. Reliant, having or showing dependence on something. The region is heavily reliant on foreign suppliers for its raw materials. Manganese, a hard gray metal used in making alloy steels. Australia is a key supplier of critical minerals like lithium and manganese. Predates, to exist or occur at a date earlier than something else. This diplomatic agreement predates the recent escalation of trade barriers. Issuer, a company or organization that issues something, especially securities. The company aims to become one of the largest foreign issuer listings in New York. Supercharge, to provide with extra power, to accelerate significantly. The global AI boom continues to supercharge the demand for high-end memory chips. Lithography, a process used to create patterns on a substrate, such as a semiconductor. Advanced lithography tools are essential for creating modern chip circuitry. ADR, American Depositary Receipt. Listing an ADR in the United States is one way to enhance a company's shareholder value. Valuation, an estimation of how much something is worth. A successful debut on Wall Street could help close the valuation gap with global peers. Juggernaut, a huge, powerful, and overwhelming force or institution. The American AI juggernaut currently leads the world in chatbot usage. Inroads, progress or advances in a new area. Foreign tech firms are making significant inroads into the regional AI market. Pledged, committed by a solemn promise. The government has pledged billions of dollars to support local tech development. Upstage, to divert attention from someone towards oneself. The startup named Upstage is working to strengthen the national AI infrastructure. Upstage. Diplomatic, relating to the management of international relations. The annual diplomatic report will describe the relationship between the two nations. Lodges, to present a formal statement to a public body. The government lodges a strong protest over the violation of its embassy. Reiterated, to say something again or a number of times for emphasis. The leader reiterated that the country would not abandon its nuclear ambitions. Deterrence, the action of discouraging an action or event through instilling doubt or fear. The military aims to expand its nuclear deterrence to counter strategic threats. Condemnation, the expression of very strong disapproval. The nuclear test was met with international condemnation and new sanctions. Diplomacy, the profession, activity, or skill of managing international relations. Despite years of diplomacy, the situation on the peninsula remains tense. Autonomy, the right or condition of self-government. The leadership sees nuclear weapons as a way to ensure strategic autonomy. Plutonium, a radioactive chemical element used in nuclear reactors and weapons. Experts are concerned about the country's growing plutonium production capabilities. Discrepancies, lack of compatibility or similarity between two or more facts. International inspectors found several discrepancies in the nuclear declaration. IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency. The IAEA issued a ruling after the country refused to address specific queries. Compliance, the action or fact of complying with a wish or command. The agency is monitoring the nation's compliance with the international treaty. Provocative, causing annoyance, anger, or another strong reaction. Recent missile tests have been seen as highly provocative by neighboring states. Intercontinental, relating to or traveling between continents. The military unveiled a new intercontinental ballistic missile during the parade. Evasion, an act of escaping or avoiding something, especially an obligation. The regime is accused of funding its programs through sanctions evasion. Infringes, actively break the terms of a law or agreement. Any act that infringes on national sovereignty will be met with a strong response. Characterization, the description of the distinctive nature or features of someone or something. The government argued that its neighbor's characterization was undesirable for peace. Parliament, the highest legislature of a country. The Prime Minister set out the new policy priorities in a speech to Parliament. Reunification, restoration of political unity to a place or group. The leader officially dropped the long-standing policy of seeking peaceful reunification. Omitting, to leave out or exclude someone or something. The report was criticized for omitting several key details about the delegation. Delegates, people sent or authorized to represent others. Some of the delegates faced difficulties entering the country due to visa issues. Nationality, the status of belonging to a particular nation. The application form requires each participant to provide their correct nationality. Delegation, a body of delegates or representatives. The national delegation decided to be absent from the forum due to safety concerns. Underscores, to emphasize or show that something is important. The sudden shift in tone underscores the souring relations between the two countries. Souring, to become less pleasant, friendly, or well-disposed. Analysts point to souring economic ties as a major risk for regional stability. Retract, to withdraw a statement or accusation as untrue or unjustified. The minister has rejected calls to retract her controversial statement. Retaliation, the action of returning a military attack, counterattack. The government imposed new trade restrictions in retaliation for the recent sanctions. Lodged, to make an official complaint or protest. A formal protest was lodged following the dangerous incident at the border. Inexperience, lack of knowledge or experience in a particular activity. Some worry that his inexperience in diplomacy might lead to further conflict. Endorses, to declare one's public approval or support of. It is unclear which candidate the international community currently endorses. Cleric, a priest or religious leader. Although he is not a cleric, he has been a leading voice in the religious movement. Rebuked, to express sharp disapproval or criticism of. Observers have repeatedly rebuked the leader for his aggressive rhetoric. Rhetoric, language designed to have a persuasive or impressive effect. The president's recent rhetoric has caused concern among international allies. Adjunct, a person who is another's subordinate or auxiliary. The adjunct professor provided a detailed analysis of the security situation. Envoy, a messenger or representative on a diplomatic mission. The special envoy is meeting with regional leaders to discuss a ceasefire. Touted, attempting to sell or promote something, typically by pestering people. The new economic agreement is being touted as a major victory for the country. Mediator, a person who attempts to make people involved in a conflict come to an agreement. The neighboring nation is acting as a mediator in the peace talks. Congressional, relating to a national legislative body, especially the U.S. Congress. The official provided his congressional testimony regarding the military budget. Commentary, an expression of opinions or offering of explanations. You can visit the website for the latest commentary on the global energy crisis. Shrug, to dismiss something as unimportant. Most investors manage to shrug off the minor drop in the stock market. Subsidies, sums of money granted by the government to help an industry. The government introduced new energy subsidies to offset rising costs. Strain, a force tending to pull or stretch something to an extreme or damaging degree. The healthcare system is under great strain due to the sudden influx of patients. Legislature, the legislative body of a country or state. The new trade bill was passed by the legislature after a long debate. Plenary, a meeting or session to be attended by all participants. The Prime Minister will deliver a keynote speech at the opening plenary. Bilateral, involving two parties, especially countries. The two leaders held a bilateral meeting to discuss trade and security.